Hello and welcome to the good, the bad, and the ugly with me, Rusty, here on All for United. I do it wrong every time. Look.
God loves a trial, mate. There we
are. Welcome to a brand new.
It looks like you're giving birth to yourself.
It's chaos, guys. I'll explain what's going on in a minute. Welcome to the good, the bad, and the ugly, the show with 3 topics, and after each topic there'll be a question. So 3 questions. The questions will be answered by myself, the guest, and I want everybody in the comments to join in as well, because it's a bit of fun. It's a bit tongue-in-cheek. We do talk about the serious issues that are going on about Man United, but we also have a few light-hearted topics to put in place as well. For all that wonder what was going on there, some of the boys, who is it who does it?
It's Kojo. It's Jay Lynch who does it, but myself and Kojo do it. Yeah.
And they do that at the beginning of the show, but like my fingers go everywhere when I'm rushed into doing it. And I see it, just proper
Guys,
special.
You've been watching too much of Jesse Lingard.
It is,
unfortunately, yeah, Jay Lynch.
Just introduce my guest. I have got Mr. Acting Joe, the Irishman Joe. Hello, Joe. I've got Big Ollie. How you doing, Ollie?
Very good, mate. Very good. How are you?
Oh, good. Thank you very much for asking, mate. And all the way from South Africa, we've got Barry, Mr. Doc United. How you doing, buddy?
Excellent. Lovely to be with you guys.
I want to point out that, Rusty, you were so close to doing a South African accent there. I could feel you about to do it, and then you just backed out.
It's a very difficult accent. It's really very difficult.
Well, maybe it's difficult for you, Barry. I'm very good at it.
It's taken me years to perfect it.
I think we need Rusty to have an attempt at it now. We need Rusty to have an attempt at it.
I'm not attempting it. I'm really impressed with how quickly my brain went. Don't. You can't.
That is not acceptable. Oh,
yeah.
Right. Guys, right. Thank you, everybody in the comments. I can see Suzanne's here, Gainer's here, Jim's here, Murray's here. I'm sure there's many more. If you're there in the background and you're lurking, stop lurking. Stop being a little football pervert and join in. You know what I mean? We've got a lovely little community here. We'd like to hear from everybody, so please do join in. So the first topic, this football pervert, mate.
I'm trying to think of the logistics of being a football pervert. I'm like, because I used to have a really sexy neighbor, and I used to kick a ball into her yard just so I could talk to her. So would that count as being a football pervert?
Make you a football pervert?
Yeah, no, but like that would make me, I think, a football gentleman. You know, because I wasn't staring at her doing anything. I wasn't using the football to like. Can you not hear me?
Waiting for a football pervert to creep out of that cupboard behind Rusty.
No, there's no football pervert. Shut up. In there. Guys, so the first topic this week, but I think it's going to have to be certain categories of football pervert, because that's 2 completely different ones to what I was thinking about. But that might come up on another show sometime. In fact, we could put that in the ugly. This week we kept a clean sheet for the first time this season. Fucking get in. Yes, exactly, Joe. The disbelief of Joe, that it's something that we've been needed, and I think it's something that Dave Saves has deserved. You know what I mean? He's put in a shift in most games this season already, and I think it's a credit to him. I think he'll be so happy. I know we didn't get the 3 points. That's the disappointing thing about it. But the clean sheet was massive for Dave. His confidence can only be boosted by it. The back four's confidence can be only boosted by it. And the team working in that 4-2-3-1 formation, where essentially it's there so you can attack in numbers, you can defend in numbers. They've done one part of it by defending numbers and keeping a clean sheet. How are you feeling? I'll come to Big Ollie first. How are you feeling about keeping a clean sheet, matey?
Well, I mean, the way both teams set up, someone was going to get a clean sheet, wouldn't they? You know, it was quite a bit of a dire showing. But, you hope Maguire, Lindelof and Shaw, great confidence booster for them. And hopefully, now they look a bit more up to speed, maybe we could start using one holding midfielder. We'll see how that settles in. So like a Matic or Fred. Obviously goals win games, mate. So we need to start attacking a bit more. And you think having two, in McTominay and Fred's not going to help that cause. So hopefully, and a clean sheet for De Gea, it's like heroin for him, mate. He's always, keen on song after that. So we've got two harsh games coming up. It can't be a bad thing, to be honest with you. So taking positives from a very dire performance. But if we'd have stuck a goal, we'd all be sat there with a big smile on our faces. So I can't complain, to be honest with you.
Exactly that, Ollie, isn't it? As well, we would be just one goal would have been like a completely different direction to where people have reacted to it. I didn't think it was that dire of performance, Ollie. I couldn't agree with you on that one. But I'm going to concentrate more on the clean sheet because that's what we're here for. That's the good part of it, and that's what I'm sticking to. Because if you watched, I'll come to you next, Barry. If you look at David De Gea in the PSG game, he's always disappointed anyway if he concedes a goal. But you kind of felt that he was getting frustrated, and he felt we could have kept a clean sheet against PSG, even as early as they scored. Once that Martial goal went in, he's like, it was a different kind of look on him, like, fuck's sake, man. You know what I mean? If they're not scoring, Martial's scoring against me. Can I not just get a clean sheet? And he's finally got one. And as Ollie says, it's like the heroin for David De Gea, isn't it?
Yeah. So I have to say, I thought Martial took that header brilliantly. I'd like to see him do it at the opposite end of the field, though. But it's ironic that on the day that we did get the clean sheet, our goalkeeper probably had his quietest game. So if you look at the fact that the sheets have been somewhat dirtied in the previous games, I don't think he's been to blame. It's been the defenders in front of him. So it was a big positive to get the clean sheet. Personally, I wouldn't have minded the sheets being a little bit dirtied if we'd shown a bit more ambition in terms of attacking in the game and winning the game, but conceding. But that's not what we're discussing. It's very good that we got a clean sheet because it instills confidence in the defenders. And I mean, it was down not to the goalkeeper this time, but to the guys in front of him. But I think that we set out in the game really not to lose the game rather than to win the game. But on the day, Maguire and Lindelof were excellent in the centre-back positions. They really were very, very good. I think that we got away with one with Maguire putting Azpilicueta in that headlock. It would appear that we maybe were deprived of a penalty at the other end for a similar type thing, but be that as it may. And the back four played very well as a unit. But of course, they had two holding midfielders protecting them, coupled with the fact that Chelsea also didn't want to lose the game. But credit where credit's due, the back four performed very well. But we need to get back to winning ways at home, that is for sure. And I reiterate, the day that David De Gea keeps a clean sheet was his quietest game of the season. He had really nothing to do.
That is correct, isn't it? I never really looked at it that way. The only thing he had to do was one shot, which went straight down his throat, dropped it deep. You know what I mean? Anybody could have saved it. That girl that Joe used to knock balls into a garden could probably save the one that David De Gea got down to. Gainer's right here. David De Gea is definitely getting back to the goalkeeper we have come to rely on, which is great to see. Completely agree. And Suzanne also says Dave is back to his best. He is. Even his positional play looks really good. I know it's not all about him, as Barry was just saying there. He had relatively fuck all to do in that game.
May I just add something, Rusty, if you don't mind? I think what has improved noticeably in his last couple of games is his distribution. I thought in the game in Paris, his distribution was terrific. And I also enjoyed the fact that, barring maybe on one occasion in the Chelsea game, we're not playing out from the back because that's too nerve-wracking. But his distribution has been particularly good in the last couple of games. Credit where credit's due. He was sublime in the game in Paris. He was brilliant.
Yeah, it is. It's little things like that you start noticing, isn't it? His distribution, his positioning. I've watched him a few times. His positioning when the opposition are attacking. He's setting himself up a little bit early, looking a bit more lively. Maybe he has been flat-footed. Because I know I've spoke about it before that he went and got some extra coaching from his old coach way back when, who kind of made him the player he is now. He's gone and done that during the small pre-season we've had, and maybe they've analytically looked at that rather than just obviously what he can do in the nets, but what he can be doing with his distribution, what he can be doing whilst he's waiting for that ball to come in, positioning himself, getting ready to help his defence out, getting himself ready, especially for them near post shots, which have kind of let him down over the past like 12 months. But Joe, it's a clean sheet, baby. The team kept a clean sheet. I know people are saying, we set up possibly. We shouldn't be surprised that we kept a clean sheet. For me, 4-2-3-1 isn't designed to keep a clean sheet. 4-2-3-1 is designed to attacking numbers and defending numbers. It's not just to walk away with be cautious and walk away with a draw. But that's the way it looked the other day, because I think just because of the personnel that we had in the positions more than it was to the formation, to be honest. But still, clean sheet, baby. What do you think that does for not just David, not just for the defense, but for the whole team? Does it put some kind of a belief back into him? What do they have to do next, though, as well?
Well, I'd say like what you're saying about being De Gea's first clean sheet. It's actually a second, because I don't count that wonderful header from Martial as him conceding. That's Martial scoring against his own keeper. Getting the shots up. All right, that doesn't count. Okay, it only counts if
it's an Irish goal.
That's an Irish. Yeah, that's entirely an Irish goal. That is Murphy's Law incarnate. But look, I was saying it before. A draw we need now is like, if we're going to get a draw, it needs to be a 0-0 draw, because we know we can score. We have scored in games before, but we've yet to keep a clean sheet. So if I come out of that game and someone said we're going to draw, I was looking forward to being a 0-0 draw, because we need to keep a clean sheet. The back four, especially our captain, he needs to have that kind of like, after it's finished, just that release of air to go like, yes, we can do this, Because when you're at your lowest, no matter whether it's in football or in real life, it can almost feel impossible to get out of it. So, like, to come up against Tino Werner, Pulisic, and who else is up the front three? Havertz. Yeah. And just come out with that and being like, they're quick, they're strong, they're the most coveted players in the world, and I kept a clean sheet against them. It might be a small thing, but for him, it's just a thing of like, take that forward now into the next game. So I think it's huge for Maguire, because no matter what you feel about him, Temi, if you're watching, I noticed on Twitter you gave Maguire a compliment, and that helped me sleep that night, because Temi is not the biggest fan, to say the least. So to see that was the elixir to the gods, I won't lie. But Maguire going to that game, because we know he's going to be the starting centre-back for forever, until he's not worth anything. So for him to go into the next game, and hopefully it'll end up very soon being himself and Tunsebi being centre-backs together, it just helps that. It helps him settle his head, and it helps him move on, which is great. So a goal in one game, a clean sheet in the other, and let's bring on Leipzig and bring on Arsenal.
Yes, mate, 100%, completely agree. As Paul says here as well, if you trust the defence and the keeper, the midfield will have confidence to assist in attack. There is that as well. It gives a bit of confidence to those ahead of the defence as well, even though, it's you defend from the front to the back. It does. We did create 14 chances in that game, so they can look at that and go, listen, we've got a clean sheet now. We showed that we can we can keep players like Werner, Havertz, and Pulisic quiet whilst moving forward and defending well. Now we've got to be a bit more critical. What do we do next? How do we move that forward? How do we move from the back to the front and score goals as well as defending as well as that? Darren said, Rusty for Prime Minister, you really do not know me well enough.
Well, Boris Johnson doesn't even know his kids, and he's your Prime Minister, so... I
don't know some of mine, so we've got something in common.
Well, you get my vote, Rusty, anyway.
Reese, don't apologise for being late, mate. I'm just glad you're here.
Hey, Reese.
Reese has been on a show on the Dugout channel. Don't worry, mate. Don't worry. Dave Lang, how you doing, mate? Good result against Chelsea following the win in Paris. Of course it is, mate. Complete positive to come off the back of a 2-1 win against possibly one of the best teams in the world, and then go and silence a team that have just spent 260 million, mostly on a frighteningly good-looking attacking front three. Whether they gel and put things together is another thing. But let's not talk about them gelling it. They're amazing, them Chelsea players, and we silenced them 0-0 clean sheet. Right. So as with every topic, there is always a question. So there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. The clean sheet was good. So the question, and I want you to answer this as well, people in the comments, talking about clean sheets. How often do you guys clean your sheets at home? Your bed sheets, that is. And I'll come to Mr. Joe first, Because I reckon this could be an interesting one.
Yeah, I tend to clean the sheets when all the crumbs have built up over the weeks and months that of me eating on my bed have become a human being beside me, and then turn to me and then go, Joe, you best start cleaning up now. And then I kind of go, you're probably right. And then I wait till a second person is grown, and then I decide to clean then. So once every generation or so, you know.
Once all the food that you've eaten within your bedroom is formulated into its own actual being.
Yeah, and gotten sentience.
And got
sentient breadcrumbs. There we are.
But the great thing is as well, they pay rent when they get to that stage too. So it's good to have them around at some stage.
Yeah, that's good as well. I can understand why now you won't clean it as often. A minute ago, I was going to say you dirty bastard, but now so good.
Up there for thinking, down there for dancing.
Obviously, with the more mature gentleman in the group, Barry, you've got a bit more life experience when it comes to changing sheets.
Right.
You know, like we've all been through the process of early days being a teenager, and obviously your mother changing it for you, and she's picking up your socks and your dirty tissues from down the back of it, and then you get married and your wife does it for you. Are you married, Barry? Do you mind me asking that, by the way?
Yes, I am. I have the most wonderful wife in the world. She's just magnificent.
She's in New York at the time, isn't she? Is she in New York still, Barry?
She is indeed at the moment. Yes.
And who's she visiting?
Mate, what a beautiful thing to say. What a beautiful thing to have as well.
She's visiting my son, daughter-in-law, and 8-week-old granddaughter.
Woo!
Oh, congratulations.
Nice.
Thank you.
Beautiful, mate. Okay then. Well, she's away at the moment, so how often do you clean do the bed sheets?
So, in fact, it's a very easy one for me to answer because, you know, we live in Africa. So we live in a tree house and sleep on a bed of nails. So there are no sheets.
Wow.
There we go.
Mate, you know, of course you do. I can't talk. So there we go. Barry sleeps on a bed of nails, so he does not have to change his bed sheets. Just have a look at a few people.
Man, we're tough, yeah.
You are, mate. You are tough over there. Definitely tougher than we are here. Anyway, every 3 days, the wife demands Reese 7 days in a week. Cheers for clarifying that one, just in case we didn't know. Sleep around 8 hours. You change your bed sheets 4 times a week.
A week.
Fuck, I don't even have 4 bed sheets. You know what I mean? Gainer actually has a cleaning business, I do believe. I change my bedclothes twice a week. I think that's quite an average one, isn't it? Or once a week, as Suzanne's done here. Suzanne does it once a week. Just use the Hoover and clean the bastard.
I like that. I like that thinking, Reese. I like that thinking.
Oh, people throwing out the love to Barry. Congrats, Barry. Congrats.
Thanks, Suzanne.
Congratulations,
Thanks,
Barry.
Jim.
Reese has said as well,
Thanks,
congrats.
Reese.
And as usual, Brown Knight turns up. What did I miss?
What did I miss? Yeah. Right on cue.
Don't forget, Oliver's next. Oliver gets congratulations as well.
Yes, obviously, grandchild coming into the world. Oliver has a brand new little baby into the world. So you can tell me that as well, Oliver. Congratulations,
Oliver.
big man.
Awesome.
You probably change the sheets a bit more often now. There's probably a bit of sick on there and whatnot if you've got a little one knocking about.
Oh, no, that all stays in the pram, mate. Yeah, we usually get to about 2 weeks, and then when you're just about to fall asleep, stood up after working hard, then it's, could you just put the duvet cover on? Have you ever seen a 6'6", 20-stone man doing a duvet dance inside a duvet? Yeah, it can be quite dangerous. The top of the stairs aren't that far away from the door, so yes, it can be quite dangerous at times. But
How many kids?
just on my daughter.
How many kids have you got?
Lily. Just the one, first child, mate.
Oh, even better. Congratulations.
That's the wife. 18 hours labour and £10 5 ounces. So
congrats, mate.
Oh,
Banging.
I'd imagine to take after me and be a bit of a unit. But
and
yes.
Ollie, I bet she keeps going on about that 18 hours labour, doesn't she?
No, it's actually me, to be honest with you. Trying to stop her doing stuff. Nightmare. But, we try. So she's
I've only got the
back
one
to
as well, Ollie. A big old. I promise you, mate. You want to go and get a snip now. You don't want any more than that.
No, mate. No. My missus said whilst under epidural, you're never coming near me ever again. I was like, brilliant. Luckily, the hair's already started to fall out. So, I think I'll slide into middle age quite well.
Oh, my God. That's so funny.
Oh, mate, I've got the full crow's nest here. Hidden well by a snide quiff. But we're getting there.
I had a full set of hair, mate, when I was born. I tell you, it's just a nightmare. Honestly, the most laborious hobby I've ever had is having a child.
Barry, I love your hair, by the way, Barry.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's natural.
Yeah. Mine's painted on, but still, it's there.
Yeah. Flashback to the Elvis Presley days.
Yeah, man. I love it. Right, guys, I'll finish off with mine and then we'll move on to the next topic. Mine's not too far off, similar to Joe's, in the simple fact that I eat a lot in bed. I eat so much in bed. So a lot of toast and a lot of biscuits in bed. So what I like to do first is I like to get an exfoliation in my sleep, because you get a free exfoliation from your crumbs, guys. You know what I mean? Women pay a lot of money to be exfoliated. I get it for free. As soon as I've had my exfoliation, change the sheets. Good tip for anybody who thinks eating in bed's disgusting. Get nice fresh skin.
One stone there, mate. If it works, it works.
It works. You know what I mean? You get to eat food in bed and a beauty regime all in one. So
what more do you want?
And it shows, Rusty.
I know. Thank you very much.
Youthful exuberance.
Yeah. All right.
We'll maybe on a future show, maybe we'll discuss the demerits of late night eating in your bed.
We should also point out that Barry is a doctor, so like everything we're saying now is probably like horrifying.
Yeah, we'll leave that for another time.
Yeah.
After 9 o'clock probably. Toasted biscuits. I wouldn't even let Kylie eat in my bed. Get to fuck, mate. She could eat in my bed. She'd like more crumbs the better.
Yeah.
No, not crumbs. Right, moving on to the bad. This week, so that's the good, which was a clean sheet. The bad this week is the split fan base. I do believe a split fan base always happens, no matter what club you're at. Obviously, if you're winning trophies year in, year out, then you're going to get like less of a split in the fan base. But I think it's been amplified even more and become bigger because everybody's a bit bored. Everybody's using social media as an outlet because we can't go to games. We can't let out a bit of frustration. And there's just a lot of knobheads in the world as well, to put it in short. Yeah. But obviously, there's Ollie in, there's Ollie out. You've got a right to have either of them and believe in either one you want. But if you have, come up with a solid foundation, come up with a solid argument. Don't just be doing it because it's an agenda and a side that you picked and you want to stick with it. Watch the games, you know what I mean? Dissect the games, analyze the games, understand football as well, because some of them don't, to be fair. But it's not nice to say, I don't like it. I'm always a positive person. And for whatever people think Ollie's doing, if they think it's good or bad, for me, I believe in what's happening right now. I like what I'm seeing. You know what I mean? I don't like where we're sat at the moment in the league, but it's, you know, there's been worse starts. And I think we're moving in the right direction. So for me, it's Ollie in. But the split fan base is very, very toxic. Depends how far you put yourself into it as well, I suppose. You can ignore it if you wish and just be ignorant and carry on as you were with your own upbeat, you know, like way of living and just thinking that your side's right all the time. But it is dividing the club. It is dividing it. Well, I don't know. It winds me up a little bit, in fact. I'm going to come to Big Ol first. What are you thinking, mate? What's your thinking on a split fan base?
Well, my thinking's been the same, you know, since all this fucking nonsense started. You know, whatever happened to supporting the team that is out there busting a gut, You know, not everything has to be Ollie in or Ollie out. It's just a load of fucking shit, mate, to be honest. We probably started as like an online poll that's just gone out of, blown out of proportion. But I see no reason to say or have to say, I'm Ollie in, but why can't you just scrutinise? If something's, happened that you're not happy with or a bad decision, why can't you scrutinise that? You don't have to say, oh, well, I'm Ollie in, but I think he did something wrong this week. Just, just analyse. It does mind nothing, honestly. Every time you hear someone have to say, well, I'm Ollie in, but I think, he's a bit naive here. Are you Ollie in? Does it have to be Ollie in? Can you not just do what we all used to do? I think he's fucked up there. End of conversation. As for the Glazers, yeah, I suppose that's probably what's quite a big divisive thing in the fan base. But I think that's just an American, model, isn't it? We're not used to it. It's a bit of it looks from the outside a bit of a shit show. But, if they had a bit of another open dialogue with the fans, there might not be as much, hostility. And, you've seen people proper laying into each other on Twitter. How dare you, stick up for the Glazers? It's not sticking up for the Glazers. It's trying to understand what's happening. So we missed out on Bellingham. Did we miss out on Bellingham? Did he choose Dortmund because he was going to get more chance? We missed out on Haaland. Did we? Or did we not going to get sucked into having to sell him in 2 years for fuck all? Same with Sancho. Did we miss out on him, or did we not want to pay 120 and then hopefully next summer get him for 50? It's all just a bit too jump on it. You don't have to nail your flag to the flag post and be like, I am Ollie in, I am Ollie out. Love United, hate Glazers, all this fucking nonsense. It does me nothing. It never used to be like that. So as you say, you rightly said, all this spare time people have had, it just sort of spirals out into this sort of weird hatred that they have to, focus it into something. And I think it's a bit ridiculous at times, to be honest with you. I tend to fade it out if I can.
Yeah, I'm quite similar. Do you know what I mean? I have been guilty of engaging with people who don't have the same opinion as me. It doesn't mean their opinion's wrong, but I've engaged in it, and all of a sudden it just turns toxic and aggressive. People just can't seem to have a civilized debate at times about serious issues. I love what you said there, though, is, why do you have to, you don't have to set up camp and have set up camp. Why can't you just talk about the game and just say, oh, Ollie did this today? Just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean you're Ollie out. Just because you applaud something doesn't mean you're Ollie in. You can do all of that. As a human being, you should be able to argue in all angles and, all possibilities without having to just drag yourself in to setting up an agenda either or, even though I am Ollie in. He says,
but there you go. We're all guilty of it, mate. How many times have you personally said, I'm Ollie in, but because there's this sort of perception that we need to have that mindset. And if you're Ollie out, you're against the club. It doesn't have to be that way. Yeah. But there is this thing that you have to say it, and it's fucking nonsense, isn't it? When do we say I'm Jose in, but he's a bit of a knob? I've never said that in my life, but now there's this thing, you have to be one or the other. I don't know where it's come from, but it can fuck right back off. That's come for the rise of social media, hasn't it? And hashtags and, you know what I mean? And how easily people are engaged and willing to follow suit to certain things. I'll come to Joe next. How are you feeling about the toxicity within the fan base, mate?
To be honest, I don't think it exists. I think it's just, the problem is, it's like with social media in general. I guarantee you there's a split in every club. And also, to bring it back to my home country, Ireland, there's a split in our fan base as well over the current management style and the current manager. But across every single football club, every single football nation, there is a split. Absolutely. But unfortunately, when you are the biggest club in the world, these things are always heightened, all right? These things are always thrown out there, and there's far more Ollie in, hashtag Ollie in, hashtag Ollie out, even though people don't actually know what's going on, don't give a shit. If Twitter, or like my favorite social media things is Twitter, but they're all bullshit. They're all toxic, and they never actually really benefit in any way because there's just horseshit that gets out, and people get a voice who don't deserve to have a voice. You know, really horrible people. But if you look at it, if Twitter was around in the 80s, Sir Alex Ferguson would not be Sir Alex Ferguson, because they would have been gotten onto the board. If you look at that 10-year period, Big Ron won us 2 FA Cups between 83 and 85, and got sacked in 86 because they were bringing Ferguson in. But then if there was Twitter over those next 4 years until we won the FA Cup again, there would have been, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Big Ron would have been the Jose Mourinho. Bring him back. He should be getting his chance. All this blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's absolute bullshit, and it's the reason why managers aren't given a chance anymore, because it's so easy. I guarantee you, we'll say the best manager in the Premier League now, unfortunately, is Jurgen Klopp. If Liverpool will say everything goes to shit for them this season and they go down to 4th place, there will be 30% of that fan base that will say Klopp out, because fans don't understand what it was like back in the day. Don't understand that the thing take time. There's dips, there's flows and everything. All they know is recency bias, which is, how did we do last week? How did we do last season? How are we doing leading up to this game? Like, this is always what happens, and it'll never change. You will never, ever see a manager like Arsene Wenger, like Sir Alex Ferguson, ever again in club football. The best you'll get, or Eddie Howe, even at Bournemouth, even though he was fierce lucky there. But like, the average reign of the manager will be at its peak probably 5 years, and after that, they'll find a way to get them gone. And that is genuinely, I know it's down to that players have a different mentality now. They know that if they kick up fuss, they can get rid of the manager. That's because they know if they do that, they'll be on Twitter. They have their journalists, and every there's 5,000 journalists out there that will be on their side, and it's just about getting the fans on that side as well. So it's toxic across the board, not just us. Sorry, I was going on there.
Really enjoyed listening to that. Some really good heart, because you can feel the passion from both you and Big Ol there. So I can't wait to get Barry in now and see what he has to say about this, mate. How are you feeling, pal? Are you in any way affected by it as well?
Not at all. And firstly, I must commend Joe for one so young to speak with such maturity and insights. That was, wow. Well done, Joe.
Thanks, Bar.
I have to say that...
Barry,
yeah.
When you was off stage, it looked like you were putting your phone up. Were you taking a picture just so you can remember this moment of Joe actually having a sense of maturity?
To be honest, no. I wasn't. But I think in terms of a divisive fan base, I absolutely agree with Joe. That will always exist. It will exist in every club. It will exist in every walk of life, not only in sport. And I think that one must not mix up criticism with disloyalty. And what social media has done is it's given us a voice to voice our innermost thoughts, and especially during this pandemic, where I think people are feeling extremely pressurized, stressed, locked down. It's almost a release. The other thing is players post on social media. So if you're not happy with the way a guy has performed, you've got direct access. Whether he reads it or not is debatable. But can you imagine? I mean, I've been a United fan for 55 years. In 1973-74, United were relegated. If there had been social media at that point in time, I mean, it would have been mind-boggling. It's bad enough I was in high school and I was the target of derision of many of my mates who supported other clubs. But of course, I've exacted my revenge over the years more than and so everybody has got a voice now, and people like affirmation, and people hide behind social media. Please believe me. You take a guy like Ollie, who we're chatting with tonight. If Ollie posted something that I disagreed with on social media, I'd call him out on it. If I was face to face with Ollie, who at 6'15" and 370 kilograms, I'd be petrified to say anything. So, we hide behind these things, coupled with the fact that, social media has brought an air of instant gratification. So, supporters want winners. They want to win every single game. As United fans, you've got to get behind the tradition of the club. We are privileged to support the greatest team in the world. Not only the greatest football team, but the greatest team. Man United is not a team, it's an institution. And one has got to look, and that's why when you see players buying into the history of the club, etc., for me, it's a feel-good feeling. You lose a couple of games, you're disappointed on the day, you've got to look at the bigger picture. And at the end of the day, let's remember this is sport. There are much more important things in the world going on at the moment, just to bring an air of sort of maudlin to the discussion over here. But we love it. We love it. It's our outlet. We look forward to it. And everybody's got a voice now. And that's how they express it.
Bang on, Barry. This one's this one's for you, mate. You ready?
Sage advice yet again from Barry. There we go.
Aging brings an air of maturity. You want to hang on to that for as long as possible until senility kicks in.
But what a fun slide that is.
You're getting a lot of people agreeing with you, Barry, mate. Not surprised. All three of you there, mate. Absolutely emphatic and just beautiful. A lot of passion, a lot of love. It's true. It's a family. It's an institution, and we just get behind them, don't we? We carry on. I carry on regardless, my friends. The question. This should be quite interesting, especially a few people in the comments. I like to see what they say because some of them are a little bit angry at times about the Ollie in and the Ollie out kind of like fraction that we've got going on in social media, if you will. And as we mentioned, it's just like an outlet these days, isn't it? Because everyone's in lockdown, frustrated. But toxicity. If you could heal toxicity within the fan base, how would you do it? And considering you just dropped the mic there, Barry, I'm going to come straight back to you. So if you could heal the fan base toxicity, how would you do it?
I can't heal the fan base toxicity, and I don't know that it's toxicity. It's expressing opinions. That's all it is. At the end of the day, we all love the club. Whoever the manager is, we don't have a say in appointing him. We have to deal with who we have over there. And where a lot of the toxicity is generated is from all the bloody clickbait and rumors on social media. So, when he picks a particular player, we might be extremely critical. We have not been privy to what's gone on the training field. We're not privy to what that particular player who's been left out, what is his state of mind on the day? So that's where you've got to rely on. You've got to put faith in the guys that are running the club. And, it's a results-based business. We're happy when we win. We're unhappy when we lose. Why? Because when we go into work or wherever it is on a Monday morning, if we've just put the Scousers to the sword, we walk in chest puffed out, we're proud. Whereas if we haven't done that, we know that we're going to be the target of derision. And United are big news. No matter what's going on with any other club, United are big news. And all I can say, what typifies this day and age is that there is more sympathy being poured out for a bloody cruciate ligament injury than there is for all the tragedy that's going on in the world around us. So I'm never going to be able to heal that toxicity. People have got to look at themselves and they've got to realize what priorities are and get behind those priorities. Love your neighbor, unless he's a Scouser.
Which man is
unreal, unfucking real.
The message of the day. If you take any message away from this show today, it is that love thy neighbor unless they're a Scouser. From Barry. What are you literally? You're gonna go down as a philosophical genius, mate. People Google that in 50, 60 Man United fans. Have we got any beautiful philosophical quotes from Manchester United fans over the years? There's this guy called Barry who lived in South Africa who said
the Socrates of all for United.
That's the one, mate. The Socrates of all for United.
Listen, guys, Socrates played for Brazil.
And he was a doctor as well.
He was a badass motherfucker.
But Joe, he smoked like a chimney.
Oh, don't ruin that image I have of him.
We all love Barry, but Barry's spot on. Maybe there isn't any way to heal the fan division apart from everybody getting behind. Everybody's entitled to opinions and not loving their neighbour if they're a Scouser. Joe, how would you heal fan division if you could?
I'm going to take a line from Barry's book and just bring them face to face with Ollie. Every time they say something ridiculous and stupid, I'll just say, "Oh, actually, I have Ollie here. Do you want to?" And then there's something. "Oh, sorry, Mr. Solskjaer. I didn't mean to say what I said." And then just kick them and say, "Get the fuck out of here." That's how you solve this problem. The humpy cunts.
You get people like Big Ollie to sort them out. That's as simple as that. But
just even to look at them, because these weasels will back down. Anyone who's that far like Ollie in or that far Ollie out, you can't talk to them. Do you know what I mean? You can't, or like they're so far gone, and it's all for attention. So you bring them face to face with their bring them face to like you're dead right. Bring them face to face with that problem, and then suddenly you'll see them wilt and just be like, "I didn't mean what I said. A bigger boy told me to say it."
I wonder if I could just add. There's a very good way of dealing with it. You know, when you meet people and you're talking about football, and you say, "Who do you support?" and they say, "Well, I support anyone that plays Man United, the ABUs or." The best way to deal with them is you say, "You know what? I'm passionate about football. I love talking about football to people who know the game. So let's talk about the weather."
Yes. Yeah.
Boom.
Bang on, mate.
Left, right, and centre here, isn't it?
Completely agree. Big Ol, obviously you've actually been used as a tool to heal fan division.
Apparently. Biggest, friendliest guy you'll ever meet, mate. But we are.
I can imagine, mate. You come across with that kind of demeanour, mate. You're a big, friendly giant. How would you try and heal fan division if you could?
Well, you know, that's $1 million question, isn't it? No one knows that. I think the closest you can get is, as we said before, you know, maybe a more open approach from the board with the fans. You'd have to imagine it's going to ease some sort of tensions, you know. I think it's bore out of frustration, isn't it? People want to know the what, where, why, and how of everything that's going on. That's never going to happen, but maybe a little bit more information would go some way to just calm everyone the foot down. But you know, it's not one of these. It's success is the easiest way to unite everyone in a fan base. And if I'm honest, you know, the signs of us getting towards some semblance of success, you know, a bit of silverware, maybe a good run in the Champions League, showing a good account of ourselves. I think it'll calm everything down a bit. It's not been the best start to the season, and you can see the sort of virility of everyone coming out, you know, stupid comments, sticking behind them. And as Joe said, you know, it's people are so stuck on Ollie in or Ollie out. There's no change in someone's minds. You know, if we blew away Bayern Munich 6-0 in a Champions League final, I don't think you'd be hearing that, would you? So it's one of those things, you know, but you can't just throw money at a problem unnecessarily, you know, case in point Chelsea. That hasn't worked yet. It might do, but it hasn't worked yet. Or, you know, like the likes of Robinho or Joe at City. Sometimes it doesn't work, so you've got to believe in the process that is currently underway. Maybe stop getting so anal about everything.
But Ollie, it's like you're dead. But it's the exact same with like, not to get into politics, but like if you're seen as a left person or you're seen as a right person, you have to stick with those ideals. You can't go, well, they're right. Then there's like, well, you can't say that, because if you believe in that, then you have to believe in that as well. You know, you can't go like either side. That's the way this world has gone. You have to be
a social issue, though, isn't it?
But it's the same. It's the exact same
in every walk of life.
Yeah, but it never used to be like that.
Egotism. Well, no, but everyone gets a bit too serious nowadays, don't they? You know, I'll stand up and get taken seriously by chatting a load of shit that I don't actually believe in.
Yeah, completely.
Well, you know,
you're right as well, though. Obviously, going on a running road, smashing Bayern Munich, maybe the board being a bit more transparent and open, all those things could help with fan division. The bit about winning, though, as much as it's true, as much as it will heal, as Dave Lang says, the winning heals everything. It's a bit like a child not getting its own way, though, isn't it? And, you know, like kicking and screaming, like, why can't I have that chocolate bar? You know what I mean? And not being happy because it didn't get exactly what it wanted. You get behind the club. You love the club. If this is the club for you, you shouldn't be like toxic towards him. You shouldn't be shouting at the manager to get out. You shouldn't be, you know, obviously I can understand the board frustration. But for me personally, if you're like, there's something I'm not going to mention. They've been mentioned in the comments. I don't want to put the names out there, but it's like other like fan cams who like actually make nicknames up for players, like calling Trashford when he has a bad game. You don't go slating players like that. That's where toxicity, that's where fan division comes from. When you get people like that, idiots like that, put it in place. So what I'd do is I ban them, and I would. Yeah, and I'm not sure what else I'd do, to be quite honest. I just like love and peace and tranquility. So I try to encourage regardless of what's going on. Show the love for Ollie, show the love for team, and just put your beliefs across in a better way rather than having to be hostile about it. Joe, you're dying to get it.
Yeah, I'm dying. Like, the winning heals everything is not true, because like when Jose was manager, right? We won the League Cup and we won the Europa League, and you can say the Charity Shield as well, whatever. But like, we didn't feel great when we won them. Like, I was at the League Cup final. That was amazing. But like, we didn't feel great with the football we were playing. We didn't win any of them convincingly. You know, we were half an inch away of getting knocked out in the semi-final against Celta Vigo. Like, it's winning the right way with the right mentality and having the right person, because like Mourinho is a toxic bully. Like, he is a horrible human being. And like, if you have that at the head of your club, it trickles down, and then you have the players fighting. You have him fighting with the players, and Pogba not being second captain, and him being the second captain. So it's not just about winning. It's about winning, playing the right kind of football, and having the right person running it that you believe in. You don't just believe in the club. You have to believe in the manager as well, and you want to believe in the manager. Mourinho was the only manager we've ever had where I despised him. Do you know, I just thought he was a bad human.
Mourinho is a selfish, gangrenous shit of a manager. If he's not going his way, you know, he'll soon throw you to the wolves, under the bus.
Yeah.
You know, he may as well have started this whole Luke Shaw's fat thing. It was just constantly, wasn't it? Oh, he needs to do a bit more in training. You know, maybe he's come back off holiday with a bit overweight.
And don't forget,
behold, you know.
Yeah, and Ollie, when I think he scored or he assisted, I can't remember. And then they asked him, it's like, Luke Shaw played well today, and he was like,
I had to tell him how to do it. Yeah,
that was my assist. That was my assist. Yeah.
It's the wrong mentality, isn't it? I've got a Danny Longlegs in here attacking me. He doesn't like this fucking show.
If I may just add,
yes.
You know, since the Second World War, United have really had two dynasties under Sir Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson. So you've got to realize that we've had two of the greatest managers that football has ever seen, that sport has ever seen. So, you know, in fact, you're slagging off of Mourinho. You're in fact doing exactly what we are saying is bad about social media. So here is a case in point. And
I would disagree.
That's why it's divisive. But I wonder if you were able to sit down in a room with Jose Mourinho and listen to him explain his ways, etc. I've never met the man, and I have to say I'd love to meet him, because I find him a fascinating character. For whatever reason, the guy's a winner. And yes, the relationship, it became toxic. But again, I'd love to know what went on behind the scenes, because we are speculating. And I don't know that we can comment with respect to that. And as I said, it's a results-based business. If you're the manager and you're not getting results, you're gone. And in times gone by, Fergie would have been long gone before he won a trophy at United. There's no question about it. So we're living in a different era. And I don't know that we can. If you look at Mourinho's track record, yes, when things don't go well, what he tends to do is he sours the situation. I can throw at you that had he been given the players that he wanted, instead of the transfer window that saw Dello, Lee Grant, and Fred come to United, maybe you'd be singing off a different hymn sheet. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Yeah.
And, and I guess you've got to look forward. And why does it have to be always the manager in or the manager out? It's not only that people comment on. You can get a star player, he misses an open goal, and suddenly he's useless in the eyes of everybody.
Yeah.
So tolerance, gentlemen, that's what we crave.
Tolerance.
That's what we preach.
Peace and love.
Yes.
Joe, did you want to add to that?
No, because Barry did cover it. It was just a case of like it would be different with Mourinho if it wasn't a constant thing at every club he's ever been at. That's why I feel it is him. But Barry mentioned that, so that's all I need to say.
Cool.
Well, I'll just have to say that was always towards the end of his tenure. Like Barry said, we don't know what happened, whether he was, pissed off, but he wasn't like that at the start. He was supportive. He might have been a bit stern, but it wasn't the open defiance of players. Just
every
tearing him apart. Only when it was going wrong.
Yeah.
Now it's that I don't know whether that's me, but looking at it from a fan, from what we can see, it just looked a little bit petulant in my eyes.
Every tree, like I'm saying with Ollie, like Barry, I completely respect every point you make. Like you've been a fan longer than most of us have been alive. So like everything you're saying, I completely understand it, and I agree with 78% of what you say. I agree with. But with Mourinho, I think it's a case of every club he's been at, he wasn't supported because they felt that he should have never been appointed. Ferguson never wanted him. Bobby Charlton never wanted him. The word that came out of the club was that he was petulant, and he was a pup as well before they even brought him in. Even though they respected him and everything he's done as a manager, they didn't like him, and they knew the way it would end. And we all knew the way it would end. We knew it would end with him sulking. We just thought we'd have a Premier League title before he left. And I don't even think it was about the board not supporting him, because to support him in one window and then the second window with everything he'd done in the meantime, I think they were like, he's gonna be gone soon. And they should have never appointed him in the first place. The only time they should have appointed him maybe was after Fergie.
Short-termism with Mourinho.
Yeah,
he wants
that's
to make his CV better.
Yeah.
He's proven wherever he's been, fair enough, he has won stuff, and that's why we brought him in. I don't know whether we were going for someone else, and he did win us, the Mickey Mouse European Cup. But at the same time, we would have been left with a load of mercenaries on as big as wages as some of the deadwood we've got at the minute that we can't shift.
We can't get rid of.
Four more of those that have to play every week. That,
because
big, slow, powerful players that don't work in the way football has evolved in the last 5-10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been so bad for our club. So on that aspect, I'm kind of glad that they didn't support him in the window. Imagine Milinkovic-Savic lumping himself round, against a quick, let's say, Leeds. He'd just be lost to it, and be on massive wages. Wouldn't be able to sell him. Yet another golden cage player like Pogba. So on that aspect, I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
going down a completely different avenue there now. We're not going to open that can of worms. I'll tell you that now. We're going to move on, guys. Thank you very much for that. Thank you everybody in the comments. That's the good covered. That's the bad covered. Now it's time for the ugly. It's always the playful time of the show. So it's pre-match rituals this week. I've been looking through the archive in the wonderful world of football, and different kind of pre-match rituals. And did you know that over in Afghanistan during the Taliban reign, one of their pre-match rituals was to have beheadings, executions, slaughtering, torture. Just the average kind of pre-match ritual. Absolutely fucking mental. Can you imagine that? What's your pre-match ritual? I like to just pray to God. What's you? We just beheaded a woman outside for driving alongside that fucking road.
But now we're ready to go. Give you that boost just before the game.
It's crazy. I found this story. I was like, mate, that story's going straight in. That's just absolutely. I never heard anything like it in my life. But guys, you can touch on that if you want to as well. It's
I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that. No, I'm okay. I am perfectly fine with that being left.
But yeah, true, that's what they used to do before the games. There'd be some kind of execution or a hanging, you know what I mean, like a little celebration, and then on to the main event. But my question, guys, is if you had a pre-match ritual, what would it be? Or do you already have a pre-match ritual? Or did you have a pre-match ritual? So get involved in the comments as well. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. The question once more, if you had a pre-match ritual, what would it be? And I'm coming to you, Barry.
I have to say, I was hoping you'd come to me last because
And we're going to Joe first.
You don't get, mate.
For my brief time playing football, I'd never really had a ritual beforehand, but looking at it now, it would definitely go to a pub, chat up a young one, and get turned down, because if I'm not going to score with her, I'm going to make sure I score on the pitch.
Oh, yeah, that sounded like a line from Blind Date.
I was just thinking that as I said it.
Me out. There we are. And here's Joe.
Yeah. Where are you from, Joe? And what would your pre-match ritual at football be? Phil has said that he'd have a tug. Do you know what I mean, mate? It's delightful.
Wow. Let's just throw it straight in the gutter.
Wait, Rusty. But Phil does MMA. He could rip it off, like, if he's not careful.
Proper got it in a choker hold. He's so angry.
Has that happened before, Phil? Is that when you're wrestling as well? Is that what you do beforehand? Just answer in the comments.
Probably an awkward injury walking into the hospital, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What happened in training? Something.
One thing I'll say about that, though, Phil, is that I was thinking about this when I was thinking about my pre-match ritual, and I was like, I'd just shag Charlize Theron before every game. But you spent after that, lads, aren't you? You know what I mean? You're not going to the pitch if you've done that, because after that, you're like,
Rusty, remember, she's South African. She was just down the road over here. Got the T-shirt, mate, but overrated.
Overrated. There we are.
Oh my God!
How many
times can Barry get that mic dropped in one night?
I'm gonna come over to South Africa, see you, then go and shag you on one of them beds made of nails.
No problem. We'll set it up for you, Rusty. No trouble.
It's not what you know. It's who you know, isn't it? Good stuff.
Yeah,
Big Al, so if you had a pre-match ritual, what would it be, mate?
Well, it depends if you're watching or playing, mate. If I'm getting set to watch a nice game of football, maybe Champions League game, it has to be finish work, shit shower, shave, and a smoke, mate.
Shit shower, shave, and a smoke.
That's like gets you ready for anything, mate. Fact.
Ollie,
you are ready, committed to it.
Ollie, is that all at the same time, or
it can be? It's difficult, but it's worth it. For the results, mate. You get there. But if you're playing football, well, I don't know about you lot, but I used to be a centre back. It is getting on the pitch, finding new marking. You just don't lose the most angry face you could see. Dirty them out. Don't lose contact and keep pulling your socks up. Makes the night a bit easier, to be fair. But yeah, no more football for me.
Right, I can't find this. There it is. Barry, you wanted to be last, so I hope it's going to be really emphatic.
I don't have anything special to say, except over the years I've been very privileged to actually watch United live at Old Trafford on many occasions. So my pre-match ritual on those days, that I have to say is an absolute privilege. It doesn't matter who United are playing. It's a privilege to be there to watch them. And my pre-match ritual on those days is actually to be at the stadium at least 3 hours, if not more, before the game, to soak in the atmosphere, to go to the Bishop Blaze or one of those places, just to be there. And it's just unbelievable. It matters. In fact, the game passes you by so quickly that it's the whole event leading up to it, with guys that I've made fantastic friends with in Manchester, or people from other countries that come to the games. So that's an awesome pre-match ritual when I'm privileged enough to be there. In my sort of mundane existence back here in Johannesburg, leading up to the games, I suppose it's almost like I'm playing the game, mentally preparing myself. What are we in store for? I have to say, I don't really, like some of my colleagues, my ablutions don't particularly cross my mind before the game. It's getting into the mindset. Funnily enough, when watching here, I actually like watching the game either by myself or when my younger son is here. I love watching it with him because he's like-minded and it's terrific to watch. I will not allow any non-United fan to come and watch a game with me over here because there's no question about it. I'd beat the shit out of them if we were watching the game together. And just an anecdote in terms of the South African approach, you may or may not be aware, but Gary Bailey had a superstition that used to throw a lock into the back of the goals when he ran onto the field, because it's an African superstition. Put a lock in the goals and you lock the goals from the opposition scoring. Well, Gary, if you're listening, it didn't always work, mate, but nevertheless, a kind of superstition. But I'm always excited at watching United, sometimes maybe a bit disappointed at the end of the result, but that's not what we're talking about. It's just awesome to be at Old Trafford. Wow, what an experience. It's second to none.
Yeah. It is, mate. It is. I love that. Obviously,
Can I say, if Barry, if your son is like-minded like you, we may get him on the show.
Yeah, you know what? He actually voiced to me he'd love to come on, so maybe we can get him an invite sometime. He's a wonderful young fellow, articulate and a lot better looking than I am. Your female viewers would appreciate him a lot more than they do me.
Okay, actually, I don't want him on because I'm doing that part. All right, I'm on Tinder and on Bumble on everything, so like I don't need competition.
I've got so much love for you, Barry. You've got so much love for your family. You can just oozes out at every word when you speak about it. It's so endearing and lovely to hear.
And I brought them up good. They diehard United fans. I can never understand how in a household a dad will tolerate that his kid supports another team, or that his son or daughter are marrying somebody who supports another team. It's not allowed.
Not in my family.
We'll be having no Liverpool shirts walking in, mate, with my daughter.
Barry, have you ever seen the film I made coming out?
The one where you came out in your pink G-string, Joe?
No, I made a comedy short film, but thank you for that, Barry. That was a different story. I made a comedy short film about a Man United fan coming out in a Liverpool household. Because that would... Yeah, just see that? No, it's check out Coming Out by Joe O'Neill. I'll send it to you later on.
Brilliant, thank you. We'll do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Coming Out by Joe O'Neill. Yeah, it's because it's entirely like if in my household the same as yours. Because my whole family are Man United. If I told them that I was a Liverpool fan, I would be murdered on the spot, without even a hesitation.
Obviously, from the medical side, often I have people coming to visit, coming to see me. One has got to obviously be ultra professional, but when they're Liverpool fans, it's amazing. They always have this comment to me: you'll never walk alone." To which I say to them, be careful what you say to me, because I could organise you'll never walk again.
You stole it. I was going to say it.
Fantastic.
But remember, I've sworn the Hippocratic Oath. I have to be ethical, moral, and always will be in that context of my life.
Except with Scousers.
I love it. Right, guys, I'll just finish mine, then I'm going to round up because I've got to get out of here. Mine would be, I would quite simply windmill my cock into the faces of my players, smack them over the face, rest it on the nose, rest it on the forehead, and tell them if they win, I won't do it next week. Simple as that. That's all it is. A bit of intimidation via the penis.
Proper Ian Holloway tactic, that.
You what, Al?
A proper Ian Holloway tactic, that, mate.
It is, mate. I've got the look. I've got the tactics of Ian Holloway.
Get your Bristol accent on, mate. We'll be laughing.
Guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up because I've got to get out of here. It's been brilliant. We've been on for like an hour and 5 minutes as well. Thank you for everybody in the comments. Please do not forget to like, to subscribe to the channels. Plenty more brilliant shows. You'll see these guys on other shows as well. I can't point in the right direction, but thank you to Barry. Thank you to Big O. Thank you to Joe.
Thank you, lads.
Everybody out there, love thy neighbour unless they're a Scouser. Good night.